first of all, Patric.
Hi everyone, thanks for having us. We all know each other, so this is going to be fun. I have a project called Dubai Peeps. Got parts of my team here as well. And it is an NFT project which is obviously based in Dubai. Myself, I've been living in Dubai for the past 14 years, so I'm an artist as well, I do sculptures, and Dubai Peeps was kind of like an homage and a way to give back to the community of Dubai. So yeah, I thought, I've been into crypto now for a few years, and going from crypto into the NFT space is obviously very closely connected and kind of a no-brainer, for me at least. And yeah, so I started this NFT project. Just recently, we cut it down from 1,000 NFTs. Everybody knows what NFTs are, right? Yeah, I see a few heads nodding. Yeah. So who knows what NFTs are? Raise your hands, please. Oh, that's pretty good. I've seen worse. So for the ones that don't know, it's a non-fungible token. So easiest comparison would be take the US dollar, take a Bitcoin. They're fungible. If you take one Bitcoin, it has the same value like another Bitcoin, for example. So that makes it fungible. Same with the US dollar. Might be torn, might look different, but it has essentially the same value, whereas an NFT doesn't. It's non-fungible. Every NFT has different metadata and a different ID, which makes it non-fungible and unique on its own. So, so yeah, for all of those who still think, oh, you can screenshot it and it's the same, well, it's not the same. Yes, so we cut down Dubai Peeps from 1,000 NFTs to make it more scarce, down to 600. And that was an important step for us because we wanted to highlight that this is a very exclusive community. And if you want to be part of it, well, you've got to either buy it on OpenSea and get the remaining ones, or go for a whitelist. And the whitelists are very, very rare now. We don't have any more public sales. And yeah, so 600 NFTs. Now, very important as well to say, a lot of people, especially because the NFT space is moving very quickly, a lot of people want utility. A lot of people, they don't get the idea of scarcity, and they're like, okay, well, I buy your NFT, what do I get? It's just the way it is nowadays. It's very strange. Now, we adopted, we moved along with this trend of offering utility. So, for example, we've had an event in Palazzo Versace. One of our partners, by the way, one of our strategic partners, we had 200 people attending. Beautiful event in the outdoors, all for free for our holders. We offer merchandise. We've got some cool merchandise here as well today. So, got leather clutch bags, got cool jackets, to basically also bridge the gap between fashion and the digital space. Because a lot of people still don't understand NFTs, besides but they understand fashion. So I think it's important to educate people and to bridge the gap wherever we can. So fashion is a great way to do that. And another very, very interesting point, as a holder of a Dubai Peep, you will be eligible to get passive income. You will be eligible to get royalties of our future drops. And that just basically means you hold your digital asset, you don't have to do anything, and you have to be patient a little. It's very important. And, but then yes, you'll generate passive income just by keeping your non-fungible token. And yeah, I think that's quite mind-blowing. There are a lot of ways. And by the way, we do that through royalties. And that's very important as well. If you're a creator of an NFT, you can set royalties. So for every NFT that is being resold on the secondary market, you're basically making money. And you can set them 1%, 5%, 10%, it's up to you. And that is just, an infinite income that you can benefit from. And yes, these royalties now, they will go to our Dubai Peeps OG, to our original holders. And they make money just by doing nothing. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I want to make sure everybody else gets to talk as well.
Excellent.
Any questions? Do you guys want to know anything?
We'll do questions once we've been for everybody. Give them all a chance to
You're the man.
talk. So thank you. To Patrick. Brilliant. Khalil, you're up next. Oh, wait, before you do, Ali and Eric, you've got to swap round. Otherwise, people get you confused with your pictures. See, it looks better on the internet. Just saying. Sorry, please,
Hello.
Khalil, take it away. All yours.
Hi there, my name's Khalil Kassam. I'm the co-founder of a company called FOMO Lab. So we started this business sort of this time last year. We got approached by Tyson Fury's manager. So he's a world heavyweight champion of the world for boxing. So his manager's a sort of a close friend of ours, and he said, can we do an NFT of Tyson Fury? And we said, you know, why not? And we ended up selling it for around $1 million. So we had no plans to start a business in the NFT market. We didn't. We just thought we'd do it and see what happens. And so from there, we sort of built a marketplace. It's multi-chain, and we started to do project after project. So we ended up selling a Porsche on the blockchain, a Porsche 911, which was sold by Rick Ross. We did a project with 808 Mafia, who he produces music for Drake, Future, Migos, Travis Scott, and all the rest of them. So that sold out in sort of like under a week. And then we just continued to do project after project. We then sort of looked at the business, said, you know, what's next for this industry? What's next for the business? Where do we go from here? And what we did was we signed on a senior advisor whose speciality is intellectual property. So he kind of worked for a company called Banerjee. And Banerjee are the largest IP house in the world. So we now own the rights to Mr. Bean, which will be shortly coming out in like the next 2 weeks. So we own Mr. Bean in the Metaverse and NFT world. We also own Black Mirror, Peaky Blinders, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, Deal or No Deal, Rambo, Terminator, and there's like a whole list of them that we can go on and make. And so, you know, from then on we saw, okay, you know, if we're doing NFTs for this business, it's only right that we sort of build a metaverse as well. So, you know, we built out sort of the gallery area for it. We sort of took on more partners, one being Dubai Peeps, so they're going to get a space in our metaverse, and, you know, we're helping them on the back end with all the tech stuff. And then we sort of partnered with even more people. So we did the Middle East Comic-Con festival. We're doing their digital collectible as well. We partnered with Crypto Oasis. We're partnering with Roland Berger. They house international fashion brands. They sort of consult VW, so we're doing concept projects for them. Who else do we? Yeah, I think that's pretty much it at the moment. We partnered with Velas Chain, so they sort of partnered up with Ferrari. We're doing something with the Oscar shorts. So the Oscars, obviously everyone knows, but you know, the Oscar shorts comes out sort of every year alongside. So we're doing sort of short videos inside the metaverse with them. So we're trying to partner with traditional businesses and sort of bring them from, you know, the traditional business into the digital world. So yeah, I mean, that's sort of what we're up to at the moment. Mr. Bean launches in about 2 weeks, so you'll see it in New York, Times Square, London, maybe Dubai as well. Can you help me with that? Okay, fine. So yeah, that's sort of what FOMO Labs does. And there's sort of 2 other parts to the business as well. So, you know, because we sort of went on this journey ourselves, we actually help build out marketplaces for other people. We help build them the tech. We help build them NFTs from designing them. And then on the other side of that, we actually raise for businesses as well. So we sort of work with 50 plus VCs. And so, you know, anyone who's got a project, which is pretty cool, we sort of, you know, we'll do something from $50,000 to $500,000. But we'll pull in money from different VCs and sort of get them funded and get them all the marketing they need, all the tech builds. If they need sort of community managers, Discord, whatever they would need, we sort of have a one-stop shop for it. So yeah, that's pretty much what FOMO Labs does, and thank you.
Can I just get you to explain for everybody? Just get to explain, when you say Mr. Bean and Rambo and all these different well-known properties, when you NFT them, what does that actually mean to the public? What can they get from it? What does that mean, NFTing all these different brands?
So when you sort of license these brands, like you said, you have to kind of go through a process. So like I said, we now own the rights to Mr. Bean. So that enables us for us to use him inside the metaverse. So we're kind of going back and forth with the Mr. Bean team and like producing sort of 3,333 NFTs. So it'll be like the cartoon of him. And then you'll kind of see it in the next few weeks of what it will look like. I can't say too much about it because we're still like under NDA with the Bean team, but yeah.
But ultimately what I'm asking about is how that would reflect on how you make the money and how people would interact. So if somebody put a Mr. Bean in the metaverse, they're not allowed to do it without going through you, or if somebody wanted to own a piece of Mr. Bean, then they'd do that through you. Because digitally, lots of things are going to get copied and sent out there, but you own the ultimate rights to what happens with them. So what's the distinction?
That's the thing. It's already started to happen. So like 2 weeks before, they were like, guys, have you launched the Mr. Bean NFT? And we were like, what? And it had already been on OpenSea, just like sort of rendition of him. But yeah, I think now that obviously, bigger companies are coming into the space, you have Nike, Adidas, all these people, they're sort of cracking down on the copyrights and the intellectual property. So soon, I think they have teams out there watching the space to see if there's any sort of illegal products coming out. Just like, you get fake products out on the market. It's the same sort of thing.
Except you got goggles on all day.
Well, yeah, exactly. Can't wait.
Brilliant, thank you very much. Round of applause, Khalil, brilliant. Ali, you're up next.
Hello, how's everyone? I'm Ali Al-Hamwi. I'm the founder of Metatron Metaverse. I'd like to request one thing. Can I stand up here?
Anything you want, it's all yours.
Sure. Okay. So, who watched Ready Player One? Awesome. So, you guys are familiar with the name Metaverse? Awesome. As you can see, there's a lot of metaverses being developed out there. And there's so many projects all around the globe. But what makes our project very different is that we're not focusing on making something realistic. We're focusing on building a collective imagination that can incubate everyone within one metaverse. And this metaverse is going to be accessed directly from your pocket, directly from your phone. We're going to be mobile-based metaverse, not only web. And this will give us the possibility to give everybody access to a 3D social media right from their phones. In our metaverse, Metatron, you will be able to own communities as non-fungible tokens. You will be able to own virtual real estates, which is the spaces itself. Not only that, our metaverse is based on the crowd. It can be created by the crowd, by the community itself. So it's not only made by us, developers and designers. We will give you the ability to design your own space on your own. And this will make it possible to make it an infinitely expanding metaverse that would help everybody thrive to build the type of community they are aiming for. There will be so many functionalities in our metaverse that are going to be very important. One of them is spaces, just like Twitter Spaces. Who's familiar with Twitter Spaces? Awesome. Okay, so it's only you. Okay, so Twitter Spaces basically is a space that you enter and you start talking about certain subjects with your community, or you can invite anybody through voice chat. We're going to have something like this, but with an extra features. So for example, let's say you and your community entered one of the spaces that are built as a restaurant inside this metaverse. You could directly order food for the entire community, not only for yourself. So we're going to have future API integrations with other platforms that already offer services of food ordering. It could be also other services like buying stuff from as an e-commerce platform, etc., etc. These are like one of the awesome features that we have. Not only that, we come from a game background, game development background. I founded a game studio called C4 Studios back in 2019 that was focusing on making hyper-casual games. And we saw that there is an infinite potential of giving a rebirth for games that did not pass the tests with big publishers. Therefore, a lot of games tend to die. And those people, those developers don't know what to do with their projects. But they can actually have another opportunity to make money from their games by integrating it into our platform and sell it as an arcade machine. So if you can remember, arcade machines back in the days, people used to put it in bars, in discos, so people could actually like play games and engage with it and make, and at the same time, those developers of those arcade machines could make money out of that. Same thing is going to happen in our metaverse. We're gonna allow developers to get out from the tyranny of the game publishers and directly integrate into the metaverse and sell their games as NFTs. So for the first time, you can buy an entire digital game as a non-fungible token. Not a skin or a character, it's an entire game, which only going to be focused on hyper-casual games. I think this is going to help the independent game development community to thrive, to make more games and actually make a revenue stream where they can support their small studios without the need of publishers. These two functionalities that I have mentioned are only few functions that are very important, and there's many more to know. But I don't have enough time today to discuss with you about that. So if you're interested, you can check our Instagram, Metatron Metaverse. Thank you very much.
You made him very excited, Ali. I'm just saying. There you go. He's still nodding now. That's kind of cool. Eric, you're up next.
Hi guys, my name is Eric Tolstoy. I'm the Chief Business Development Manager for Landrocker. Landrocker is a Dubai-based company working on launching one of the biggest play-to-earn and metaverse games on the Binance Smart Chain platform. It's coming later this year. So we started development in 2017, much before the kind of boom of play-to-earn games, which has given us the time to make a much more complete experience, which is ideally what we want to create to bring traditional gamers into the play-to-earn space. Right now, looking at the market, most play-to-earn games are simplified games that don't really stand up and hold their own against a traditional game where you can't earn money. The only incentive that people have is that money earning, and if you take that element out, no one is playing that game. So this is a big issue for us, and it's a big barrier for traditional gamers coming into the space, learning about blockchain technology, and kind of adopting all of this ecosystem that we're seeing grow around us. So by building a complete game that has exhilarating multiplayer, fast-paced racing modes, a metaverse, crafting, all of these different features to give players many different ways to interact with the game and not just a kind of one track, this is what you have to do, this is the battle, you make your coins, and that's that. So we've been working on this for quite some time, and we're nearly ready to open this up to the public now. We have our closed beta opening within the month, and early access is coming in June this year. So the game itself is about kind of discovery and space exploration. We have a very rich story around the story that's being told in the game, which is all about the future of space exploration. So players will upgrade their vehicles through NFTs, upgrade their launch pads, and slowly kind of build up their power to be able to reach further and further out into our universe and discover the secrets that we've hidden there, discover resources such as our utility token, unique NFTs, and unique crafting materials, both from our own periodic table and from beyond. So this is really, I think, the main thing that's going to bring a lot of people into the play-to-earn space, the gaming. As I see it, we kind of have three phases. We're through the first phase right now, which was the art pieces, the Bored Apes, stuff like this, that had obviously a lot of excitement and exclusivity around it, but little in terms of utility. Mostly you would get access to a private Discord or a private group, but that was the extent of the utility of those NFTs. Don't get me wrong, they're still very exciting, and they kind of paved the way for more. The game phase is the second phase that we're in right now, which adds that functionality in games, where if I have this weapon, for example. It has stats, it has a utility in-game, it's comparable one to another. One weapon can be stronger than another, and it adds another level to this. There's much more kind of trading going on and a higher usability of that in-game. As well, you incorporate crafting into the game side, where the player themselves can generate these new NFTs. It's not just the artists who are putting out collections for people to buy. So this, I think, is what's going to kind of awaken people to the other possibilities of NFTs. And the third phase to come for me is expanding out of the game space into the real world, where NFTs can solve a lot of problems for society. There's so many things that could be tokenized, and just it would work so much more efficiently. For example, your passport, your birth certificate, your Metro Pass, all of these items are forged often, and there's a whole industry around forging these documents. Putting this all on blockchain, it simplifies the process for everybody. It makes it much more difficult to lose these documents, and it virtually cuts out the possibility of forgery for a lot of these. I just recently moved from Canada to Dubai last year, and one of the processes to get here is validating your university degree. And this, I had to jump through so many hoops. I had to send my physical degree to one audit office to get it stamped, that it's confirmed authentic, and then I had to pick it up from there, send it to the embassy, get it stamped, get it back, and then send it here to get the visa. Had this been a token or something on blockchain that validated instantly, yes, I did graduate from this university, this is the year, this is the whole history, it wouldn't need any of that verification. It could just be a very simple step. So I think in the future, 4 or 5 years, we will see a lot more of these documents being accepted onto blockchain and used for real-world purposes. So that's the quick kind of explanation of Landrocker and my view of NFT uses.
Brilliant, thank you. So generally, gentlemen, to answer whoever wants to answer it, where do you see the industry going? Because right now, it's kind of like waking up and going in a million different directions. Do you see an end result, or do you just see the evolution, and at some point, everything you see will be related to an NFT?
I don't think mine works. It's a good question. I believe everything eventually will go into that direction for practical reasons, for security reasons, and but Eric said it perfectly. The utility is being highlighted more and more. People are not just happy with being part of an exclusive Discord chat or, you know, just like a closed community. No, they want to get more value. And so that then takes us into play to earn. It takes us into passive income. And there's so many more utilities that can be eventually to the metaverse, obviously. I mean, again, we are in a transitional phase, and we will be using metaverses in the future because, I mean, I think it's already very obvious with self-driving cars and automation in different industries that humans can be replaced. And I know not everybody likes to hear that, but unfortunately it is a fact to some degree. Don't get me wrong, to some degree. So now, again, the question is, all right, what are people going to do? How are people going to make money? Now, that can take us then into CBDCs, digital currencies offered by governments, by banks, in order then to, I'd like to say, partially control people and allow them to obviously live. But it's a rabbit hole, it trickles down. But the metaverse and the NFT space allows us to maintain a certain amount of freedom. It allows us to generate a different income and add value to the community, to communities, to the blockchain in terms of, you know, proof of stake. So there are different ways.
Any thoughts, gentlemen? Anyone else?
Yeah, I mean, look, so, you know, one of our first projects, we sort of sold a Porsche on the blockchain. So that already, you know, kind of paved the way to using physical assets and putting them on the blockchain. So, you know, we've been approached by Warner Music Group to sort of, you know, they want to use a chunk of our marketplace to sell music on it. You know, we've had property companies come to us and say, you know, how do we make these properties or off-plan developments an NFT? That one's a bit more difficult because there's obviously regulations surrounding properties. So, you know, we kind of just taking that one step by step. We've had a gold mine come to us and say, you know, we want to put sort of an ounce of gold on the blockchain, but, you know, you can see it's ethically sourced. You can see where it comes from. There's no scams from it. So we're working on that project at the moment. So, you know, there's all these, you know, small, well, I wouldn't call them small, but all these different industries looking at NFTs and seeing, okay, how can I get the utility out of them? How does it work for car companies, property companies, some things that can be only asset backed, like how does it work for them? So, you know, I think where the NFT space now is sort of, you know, I got asked the question, is it sort of a bubble? Is it going to burst? And I said, you know, yes and no. You know, some of the projects now are paving the way for other projects to take the lead in terms of making it into a utility. You know, be it a ticketing, you know, NFT ticketing, that's another huge thing as well. So we've been approached by sort of music events and you know, Comic-Con, and they want to turn their digital collectible into sort of a ticket to the next event. So there's all these sort of things that you can use the NFT for, but it's very basic at the moment. So I think in 3 to 6 months' time, you'll see sort of an evolution of NFTs. It might not even be called NFTs, it might be called virtual assets, you don't know. But that's sort of where we're heading, I think.
Yeah, I don't see the whole motion ending, but definitely some of the fat will be trimmed off. Some of the projects that aren't kind of thinking outside of the box and really adding something new to their experience for their community, I think inevitably they will end up kind of falling out of favor with the community. But definitely the ones that are thinking outside of the box, adding new features and utility, and really coming up with new creative solutions will definitely power through and be here for a very long time.
Ali?
I think the NFT market is in a state of hype right now, and a lot of people are skeptical about it. But what I'm sure of from our experience is that NFT is here to stay. So the actual utility of non-fungible tokens, the technology itself allows us as human beings to own things in the digital reality. And that's why it's going to stay, because we are engaged in this digital realm, and it's here to stay. We're more engaged in the digital realm than in actual physical life nowadays. That's why I believe it's here to stay.
But again, absolutely. A lot of people, in order to get to mass adoption, a lot of people need the bridging, you know, bridging the gap. Like, okay, well, we're living in a physical world still, primarily, even though, of course, we're on our cell phones and we're already so involved in the digital space. And a lot of times we don't even realize it. But that's why, as I mentioned, the connecting NFTs to fashion, or to imagine you want to buy a painting or a property, but and you don't necessarily want to live in it, but you want to partially own it. Well, you can just easily split that through an NFT, and then everybody has partial ownership, and it's easily like controllable and visible on the blockchain. So there are no misunderstandings. There's no, oh, I have to run to this entity, get it stamped, get it confirmed. And there you go, guys. Again, so many you know, procedures will be unnecessary, which makes our life easier. And I think, after all, it is about making our life easier so we can focus on other things. The only thing you'll never get back is your time, and that is extremely valuable. So NFTs can, you know, allow you to obviously enjoy much more important things than taking care of unnecessary processes.
He really likes you.
Thank you, I like him too.
See, there you go. Book a room. So talking about the whole point about what we're doing with NFTs, and congratulations to all of you for your success. In a very short amount of time, you've jumped into the space, you've grabbed the space, taken certain parts of it and turned it into a business, which is great. But there must be a dark side to it all. You must see the bits that you're doing that are legit and working really well, and also see some other elements that could go very, very dark very quickly. Are you able to share with us some of the downfalls or pitfalls that at least people should look out for when they're getting into the NFT space?
I think there is a lot of fake projects out there on many platforms, like OpenSea, for example. You can see that somebody just comes up with a few PNGs and they try to make money out of, which they end up being a rug pull, and they just take the money and go. So I think if you would like to invest in NFTs, you have to research the community of that NFT project. You have here Dubai Peeps. It's the first community here in the UAE, and you can already see how serious they are about their project, and that's what makes you interested to invest in something like this.
Thank you very much. Sorry, I mean, we're all involved in one way or the other together, not just.
No, I get that, which is why you are all on the same team. But for anybody who's on the outside looking in, they won't know that they've got you've got a brain trust of people sharing ideas and looking out for each other. That's not for normal.
But the beautiful thing, but I want to tell you, it didn't just happen.
No,
like,
sure.
It's not like, oh, we know each other and okay, we're all going to start our own thing and then we connect. No, we didn't know each other. So one project attracts the other because each project sees how serious the other project is. And through connecting, you want to add value to communities and to people that invest into your project. So that is the key point. So when you guys invest, you have to make sure you do your due diligence. You have to make sure you do your own research. You check who's involved with this project, who's behind this project, what is the utility, what is the community. So there's no way around it with any investment in your life. You know, it's not like you just blindly buy some property and you haven't even seen it before. It's the same in the NFT and crypto space, with tokens, with coins, it doesn't matter. And this is how we all came together, and everybody has amazing projects. I mean, you know, it's mind-blowing. And through us connecting, we just make sure that all of you get the maximum out of each project, no matter which project you invest in. And that's how we do it.
I see that, and I think it's brilliant. I love the way that each of you is contributing to the direction that you're all sort of heading in, which is great. But the thing that was coming to mind was, for instance, identity theft. You know, because right now you've got the rights to Bean, to Rambo, all these different other things. At some point, we expect everyone to here to have an NFT, probably on their passport, even if you don't even have a physical passport. That QR code or whatever it would be something that identifies yourself. Now, who's to say that it can't be that somebody launders that, gets out there, and you are not a person because somebody's already got your DNA or whatever it would be out there? I mean, that's what I'm saying about the dark, because right now it's relatively ethical because it's being policed by the community more than anything else, isn't it? It's beyond governments. It's beyond the Facebook Meta type people. It's done by the people.
It's becoming regulated by Dubai, by the way.
Sorry, say again?
It's becoming regulated by the government of UAE.
Sure, here, definitely. That's 100%. But there's lots of other countries where that's not the case at all and never will be.
No. Okay. But, for example, the passport, your ID is on the blockchain. So in order, you can't just go into your block or anybody and just, you know, I mean, blockchain technology is secure for most parts, depending on which, you know, blockchain you are, of course. But that makes it so beautiful. That is set there and it is connected to your unique wallet, to your ID, and that makes it so interesting. And this kind of security we did not or would not experience in any other form. You know, in the old school documentation form, here's a stamp, here's a signature. I mean, but blockchain is blockchain. And once you go down this rabbit hole, you understand how secure it is and how traceable it is. You know, it's not like, I mean, of course, there will always, you know, be certain arguments of, you know, what could happen. But then when you look at the security of itself, you can build so many different sectors onto it, and they are secure. And regulations are extremely important, absolutely. And Dubai is doing its very best to, you know, stay open-minded to the crypto space, to the NFT space, digital assets in general. And they will regulate them, which is great because it removes a lot of these rug pulls and projects that are simply not serious, that just want to quickly, you know, generate money. So we're on the right track, but Dubai also understands the importance of going into this direction because, you know, once you understand it, you know it's inevitable, and it is our next step in our evolutional on our evolutional path.
I see that, and that's amazing. And I don't know if everybody's on the blockchain with their passports yet. I would imagine there's quite a few aren't, but in Dubai they probably are because of the way it's run here. But what I was thinking of is if you start a joint venture or a business with somebody, then the smart people will have an exit strategy built into the contract at the very beginning, so that if we fall out and we never talk to each other again, we've got this built into it, like having a will. Now, when you're talking about the NFTs and the businesses you're growing together, you might be able to trace back where you came from, but there's going to be a lot of messy contracts and businesses that are going to go forward with almost like shrapnel out there of we started that, I created that, and so on. Is that something that you, when you're collaborating, think about, or do you just move forward and let it all go? Because it is a thing.
Just from like sort of the year we spent in this space, we've never really had issues with that in general, to be honest.
Doesn't mean it's not an issue, though.
No, it doesn't mean it's not an issue at all. I think it's dependent on who you partner with. Obviously, even with my business partners, we've got very close relationships, but we still go back to paperwork. It's not necessarily that we're using blockchain. We've got share agreements in the background. Our trade license is in DMCC. So, it's still very much on paper, and I would recommend lawyers for going through this as well. Just because we're not at the stage yet where, you can still use your blockchain contracts, but obviously for other businesses coming into this space, they're not there yet. They'll still send you an NDA. They're still going to send you a contract or an MOU. So we're still doing things by the book in that case. But I think maybe in a year's time, 2 years' time, it probably will get to that.
Yeah, I think nowadays everything is on a hybrid basis. Everyone's sending you a standard contract as well as possibly working in some things into the smart contracts. So at the end of the day, if there are issues, you'll go through the traditional legal system. One day, maybe we'll get to the point where smart contracts can manage the entire process if there's some disagreement that ends up dissolving the company. But as it is right now, everyone's using a hybrid model from what I've seen.
I mean, the simple way to look at that is just a quick question for the people in the room. How many people in the room are married? Okay. How many people in the room are divorced? Sorry, it's a bit nosy. Nobody's putting their hands up. For those who didn't put their hands up, but there may well be somebody in here, I don't think they planned it when they first got together, but sometimes that just kind of happens. As a business grows or you end up sleeping on the sofa too many times, then that can happen. So where do you see, we've got a very limited amount of time, where do you see the future of all this going? For anybody who wants to jump into this space, they're not sure where to start, where would you say the startup point should be for them to get an entry point into the NFT space? Unless you don't want to share it because you've already just contracted it and built up yourself.
I think starting out, you have to start small. You can't follow any of the hype that you're seeing online. Now, this is not financial advice, but the way I see these investments into NFTs or tokens even, it's like buying a lottery ticket. You should be willing to lose all of the money that you're putting in, and you're accepting the high potential out of this. But at the end of the day, it should be something that you are willing to lose. Now, that's not to say somebody more educated who really does understand what's going on, does deep research into the white paper, into the team behind it, all of the smart contracts can get an edge against someone who's brand new to the industry. But I think you have to take things a little bit slowly when you come in. There's a lot of resources out there to kind of get familiarized with trading, and also a lot of essentially scams that celebrities are brought on board, influencers are brought on board to build hype. If this influencer with 5 million followers is telling me this coin is going to the moon, unfortunately a lot of their audience believes this and they buy in, and of course it gets rug pulled, and this leaves a very bad taste in their mouth for future investments. I think weeding out these type of kind of pump and dump schemes is something that's very important for mass adoption, because once somebody gets burnt once or twice with crypto, it's very hard to convince them again to come in, even if it's with a more safe coin like Ethereum or Bitcoin. They've already seen the potential of losing money, and they don't want to go for a third or a fourth time to get burnt again. So education from our side, from the industry side, is very important to kind of ease people who aren't familiar with blockchain into how to make safe investments, how to use the tools that are available. And again, just start slow. Don't FOMO into anything that you think some influencer is pumping. It's really not worth it. There will be many opportunities to jump in, so you don't have to pick the first one you see. Wait, do your research, take it slow, take your time.
That's great advice there. And I can't believe you hinted that some cryptocurrencies might be a Ponzi scheme. Where did that come from? You're a very cynical man. So last few thoughts, gentlemen, then we'll wrap it all up. Any contribution that you want to make on how people should jump into the space and what you'd recommend are the things that we should get into to start their business going?
Okay.
We're not going to tell you anything now. We're saying, no, I'm keeping it for me.
Okay, what should you get into when you start with crypto? That was your question?
No, it's the NFT space, not crypto.
Well, it's very closely related, right? But, okay, NFT space. I mean, again, look at the project, who's behind the project. Do you like the artwork? Do you like the utility? You know, what does it offer you? You know, if all of this resonates with you, dig a bit deeper, and then, you know, if you see fit, go into it. But again, this is my personal advice, Bitcoin, Ethereum, you know, Polkadot, just basic blockchain, store of value, Bitcoin. I mean, start with those, understand what they do, understand what they stand for, and the value of them. NFTs, flipping NFTs, investing in NFTs is tricky because it's a very, like, fast-moving space. And yes, you can lose money very quickly. If you look at NFTs from a gaming perspective or like a Metaverse, a play-to-earn game, people will play games. A lot of people will make money and already make money just by playing games daily. You know, in places like the Philippines, Axie Infinity is a great example. And this is their life. This is their new normal. So an NFT in that game, for example, will sustain the value possibly for longer until people get bored of the game. So you see, again, you need to be on top of your investment. It's a tricky space. There is no like golden rule to it, but again, make sure you understand the project, who's behind it, what's the roadmap, and yeah, so it's very important. For example, me, I am super transparent. My Instagram is open, all of our channels are open. You have a question, you just text me. That's, I believe, the way things should be because it gives me credibility and it makes you guys understand who's standing behind the project. It's the same with all of my, you know, fellow mates. That's how we do things, and I believe this is how things should be done. And this is how good projects, I have to say, do it. If, you know, and there are tons of projects, the typical rug pulls, people will not be open to the community. You will not be able to contact them. So there are these certain red lights that should come up with you guys where you're like, oh, okay, this is a bit shady, you know, so stay away from it. But then again, make sure whenever you invest, don't expect like a 10x over the weekend. You know, that's not gonna happen. Invest, think of it as, you know, a long-term investment. If you invest a little bit, think of it as a nice night out you've had with your friends. And forget about it, leave it there. Look at it after a few years. Sometimes look at it, if it goes down, all right, let it go down. So what? It's gonna go back up again. We're on the right track, we're all early, we're 2 trillion into the market, that's nothing. That is nothing. If you look at the entire financial market, that's nothing. So, you see, and look at the people that are behind crypto. They're interesting people, they're knowledgeable people. So that should show you we're on the right track. We're on to something great, and we all have an opportunity to be early.
Amazing. Before we just thank you guys for being on stage, special mention to that young lady there who's held that phone for the last 40 minutes without shaking or anything else. A round of applause for that. If nothing else, congratulations. And now it goes all wobbly because I've just brought it up again. So thanks to the team on stage for sharing your content and your ideas, and hopefully that's inspiring everyone to jump in. So Patric, Khalil, Ali, and Eric, thank you so much for your time.